We are here we're going to restart that. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. My name is Carly, and I'm here with my colleague Sina, and we are here to talk to you about going on exchange as a student in the Faculty of Engineering at McMaster. If you go on exchange, you're going to be working quite closely with your academic advisor. So just the agenda for our short presentation today, we are going to start by talking about whether you are eligible to go on exchange, when you need to apply by, what is the application process, what should you be taking on exchange, and at the end of this presentation, we're going to have a little bit of time for questions. So in the meantime, if anything does come up that you have questions about, please feel free to pop them into the chat, and we will go through the chat at the end of this presentation. So eligibility, are you eligible to go on exchange? So if you are in a 4-year program, you will go on exchange in level 3. If you are in a 5-year program, for example, management, society, bioengineering, or iBiomed, you will be going on exchange in level 4. You cannot go on exchange in your final year of study. So think of it like a co-op term. It does have to take place before your last year at McMaster. And you also need a minimum CGPA of 7, which is equivalent to a B minus, in order to be eligible to go on exchange. Keep in mind that some of our partner schools do require a higher GPA for entry, and this information can be found on our Study Abroad website. So the deadline to submit your application to go on exchange for 2026-2027 is January 23rd. Applicants are strongly encouraged to apply early so that you can get your preferred school. However, if you miss the deadline or if you want to study abroad in semester 2, or if you are flexible in where you want to study, there is a late application that will open on April 1st. In the application process. So before you even start your exchange application, the first thing that you'll want to do is check out the Study Abroad website. This is where you'll find all of your key info, like which schools McMaster has partnerships with, and details about exchange scholarships and bursaries. Next, you're going to want to join the McMaster Exchange Microsoft Teams community. That is also linked on the Study Abroad website. That's a great place to get updates, ask questions, and connect with other students who are interested in going on exchange. You should also attend one of the information sessions like you're doing right now. If you can't make an information session, you can always watch the recordings. They are posted in the Microsoft Teams community. And of course, it's always a good idea to do some research of your own to narrow down some schools and programs that catch your interest. Once you've narrowed down your top choices, you can go ahead and submit your formal application through iSent. That process, again, is explained on the Study Abroad website. And as part of that application, you are going to list some courses that you think could transfer back to McMaster, either as exact equivalents or comparable courses. Don't worry, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a couple of slides, but the most important thing is to show that you've done some of your research into possible equivalencies. The final approvals will come a little bit later in the process. And finally, once you've been approved or nominated to go to a partner school, you're going to connect with an academic advisor to go over all of your next steps.
All right, what should I consider taking on exchange? So when picking your courses for exchange, think about your required courses and your electives. Finding exact matches for required courses can be tricky, especially if there's a lab or a tutorial involved. Since the course you take abroad needs to have those aspects to it too, so those parts in it as well, it can be a little bit problematic. We do have the ability that sometimes we can combine two similar courses. So for example, if one of them has a related lab component, we could kind of combine those courses into one to give you the course credit. But those don't always work out, and those can take a bit of extra work to kind of find those combinations. Electives are definitely much easier for us to use. So for technical electives, for example, the courses don't always have to be an exact match as long as it fits what we consider to be a technical elective. So we're looking for the minimum requirements that what we need to be able to count it as a technical elective for you. And often we can use this as an unspecified technical elective. which we'll look a little bit at more at lately. Complementary studies electives are simpler for us. These are your non-technical, non-STEM courses. So there's usually a lot of options that we can use and that we can have approved as equivalents. And don't forget, not every course you take on exchange has to count towards your degree. You can always take a few just because they sound interesting or fun. Some things to keep in mind. Okay, capstone courses cannot be taken while you're on exchange. You have to take the capstone course here at McMaster. Um, to get transfer credit for a course you take abroad, you need to earn a passing grade based on your host school grading system. If you don't pass, you'll see NC for no credit goes on your McMaster transcript, so you just won't get credit for that course towards your degree. Now, something that's especially important for engineering students, our programs are really structured in terms of what courses you take and when you take them. Because of that, it's unlikely that you'll be able to take a full term abroad with the exact same courses you'd normally take, say, here in like winter of your level 3. We just can't find the exact matches, so we need to look at some flexibility there. That can sometimes mean that you end up off sequence with your program. So it's really important to meet with your academic advisor to talk through how going on exchange may affect your academic plan. Okay, transfer credits. So another important thing to know is how your exchange courses show up on your McMaster transcript. When a course transfers back to McMaster, you won't receive a numerical grade. If you pass the course at your host school, you'll see it as a T for transfer credit on your McMaster transcript. If you don't pass, it'll go as NC for no credit. And if you withdraw from a course abroad, you'll see it as a W for withdrawn. Please note that exchange courses do not affect your McMaster CGPA. Just keep in mind, as per university policy, you can use up to 60 units of transfer credit towards your degree and up to 6 units towards a minor. This includes any previous credits you may have. So if you've taken any LOPs, if you were in an IB or an AP program when we've used some of those courses, those all count in that 60. The transfer credit system. So credit systems vary from university to university. For example, 30 units at McMaster is normally equivalent to 120 UK credits or 60 ECTS. McMaster students must be enrolled in a full-time course load as defined by the host institution. Typically, our students would take between about 12 and 15 McMaster units per exchange term. Now, how are courses evaluated for transfer credit? So when you take a course abroad, your credits can transfer back to McMaster in 3 ways. So a direct equivalent. So the course matches a specific McMaster course. Example, if you're taking machine learning abroad, it may count as Comp Eng for SL4, so direct equivalent. Subject-specific credit. This is what we see most often. So the course fits within a subject area but doesn't match a specific course. So for example, mechanical engineering course might transfer as Mech-Eng 4XXX. Often we do this when we can use it towards a technical elective. So if we can find something that's meeting those minimum requirements for a technical elective, that's usually how we would put it in if we don't have an exact match. There's also option of an unspecified credit where it would just go as unspecified. The course doesn't match any McMaster course, but it may still count towards your degree, usually for complementary electives, rarely for technical electives. And even then, it's more common for us to have a subject-specific unspecified course. And especially for complementary studies electives, we do encourage those more. And just note that just because a course looks similar doesn't mean that we can use it as a transferable equivalency. It must meet content and contact hour requirements. Always check with your academic advisor before enrolling abroad just to make sure your credits will count towards your degree, unless you're totally fine with not using it towards the degree, in which case that kind of still applies. But just kind of keep in mind that if we're trying to approve something, we need to get it approved ahead of time.
Okay, nomination and next steps. So if your exchange application is successful, firstly, congratulations. That means that you'll be nominated to nominated by McMaster in the spring to your host institution. Once you've been nominated to the host institution, you'll be working closely with your academic advisor to get your course equivalencies approved. And here's how that process works. So first, you'll reach out to your academic advisor to request permission for the McMaster Exchange course, and we will also send you our transfer credit equivalency worksheet. From there, you're going to list courses that you are planning to take abroad, what you think they might count for at McMaster, and include the course syllabi for each individual course. From there, your advisor will help you to coordinate with the departments and faculty offices to review your courses to confirm that they can be approved as McMaster equivalents. And don't worry, between submitting your exchange application and reaching this stage, you can keep researching and updating your list of potential courses. It is really important to remember that all exchange courses must be approved before you go abroad. The review process can take a little bit of time, so try to submit your transfer credit request at least a month before your exchange starts, but preferably even earlier than that. If you do submit it late, there is a chance that your courses won't be evaluated in time, which is why that minimum 1 month deadline is so important. So that brings us to the end of our short info session about exchange in the Faculty of Engineering. Thank you for joining us today. Going on exchange is an amazing way to step out of your comfort zone and see the world while you study. It's also a great opportunity to experience a new culture, meet people from all over the world, take interesting classes, travel, and build connections that'll help you in your future. Plus, you're going to be coming back with new perspectives, unforgettable memories, and stories that you'll be telling for years to come. So now at this point, we do have some time for some questions. If you haven't already, please pop your questions into the chat. And if we do run out of time, we will be able to answer questions through email. So please feel free to utilize the chat function to put some questions in there. So
So the
go ahead.
technical elective, this is a fun one. Honestly, we do leave it up to the undergraduate chairs to decide, but you have to remember we are constrained but what we can and accept just because of your degree being accredited. So one of the things we're looking for, and again, it's going to vary depending on the department. So that's a hard one to answer because different departments have different guidelines. So, for example, the computing and software department would require to make sure that whatever course that you're taking has to have like a lab or a tutorial component. Plus, it has to be technical in nature, likely similar to stuff that you're studying. Um, I know that's not a really helpful answer whatsoever, but you're probably looking for something that's equivalent to a level 3 or level 4 course on the technical side within your degree. It does not have to be within your subject. So, for example, if you were a mechatronics student, you could probably find something that's a mechanical course that would count as one of your list Bs. If you were an electrical student, you guys don't take much outside of the electrical department, but we do actually have some kind of wiggle room there. So if there's something that you're interested in and you want to see, it's worthwhile having us run it by the undergraduate chairs to see whether it's something we could include as a technical elective. Because yeah, I wish I had more details on what they would count for it. But also keep in mind contact hours. We do bring that up on purpose just because, again, it's that accreditation piece. If we want to consider something a 3-unit course, think about the hours that we would have here. You're normally in a lecture for 3 hours a week. So it would be 3 hours a week for a 12-week course. And then often you'd have either a 2-hour tutorial or a 3-hour lab. So we're also looking at that contact hours to see if there's enough for us to be able to give equivalency for a course. Um, Deciding on whether to go abroad for 1 semester or 2. We have Valerie with us today as well. We didn't introduce Valerie earlier, but she's the one that a lot of you will be working with as well. So it's worthwhile noting who she is. She's one that's going to be answering any questions to the EngInMin email address, and she helps coordinate things for you. But whether the students decide to go abroad for 1 semester or 2, I think it's a personal decision. That's up to you guys. Again, it's not like we're going to be able to replace all of level three for you. We just can't find those courses for you. The engineering courses are so specific on what you guys are required to take as part of your degree. We can't substitute a lot of things in. But as long as you kind of keep that in mind, and that is okay, we can find enough courses for you to take that if you want to go on a full year exchange, that's absolutely an option for you.
The next question by Naxi is, should I book an appointment with an advisor after I've been nominated to an exchange institution? Yes, absolutely. Once you have been nominated and you have kind of your host institution chosen, then you can connect with your academic advisor to start the transfer credit evaluation process. And our contact information is on the screen there, Eng admin. If you are already in contact with your own advisor, you can continue conversations with them as well.
I would also say that there's nothing why you can't meet ahead of time. The only thing that I recommend is to have done some research first. Take a look at the institutions you're interested in, what courses you might be considering. That way you actually go into an appointment with your advisor with something to plan, what you've got ideas for, how you might structure what courses you'll take, rather than going in not having looked at anything. So you absolutely can meet with your advisor ahead of time, but it's essential to do so after you've been nominated.
So Aisha's asking, would I need to do an extra semester at McMaster to finish all my required courses? And how would I stay on track to graduate on time? That is a good question and part of the problem. Um, Often it may require you to extend your degree. I hate to say that. Just the way the courses work, it may look at that. For students who are in management or society, we may have enough flexibility within the extra year of your program and with your society focus electives and your commerce courses that we might be able to move enough things around if we planned early enough. But even then, it's iffy because it all comes down to the courses, prerequisites that you have, and whether we're lining your prerequisites up for you to take the courses when you come back. Because if you're missing something in a winter term and come back for the fall of your fourth year, it may not work, right? So it definitely isn't guaranteed that you can. You guys also have the options to kind of blend a year with co-op too. A lot of you are definitely doing co-op terms, and I have a couple students who are doing that where they may go on co-op for a fall term and then they may go study abroad for a winter term and just trying to pair that kind of up. And a lot of you do extend your degrees by a year because of co-op. So that could be something to kind of consider as well as to potentially do a blended year as a co-op and exchange year as just one option. Or so a lot of people actually look at lightened course loads as well. And maybe we can do something around finding what we can for you to take while you go on exchange. But and the answer is it very well could extend your degree. And there may not be a way around that, unfortunately. But that's what meeting with us will we can look at and we can actually look and see what can move around. And again, depends on the program that you're in, and which program it is. Some programs are a little more flexible. Carly, I'm thinking EngPhys, just because of the technical elective list. EngPhys might be
Yes.
one of the more,
And Biz is a flexible one for sure.
yeah, whereas my mechatronics students, definitely not one of the more flexible ones. So it really does depend. So it would be worth meeting with your advisor, and that might be one of the conversations to have ahead of time when you're kind of planning out. Um, Valerie, the one from Kenny, how long are a typical exchange period? Would it be possible to exchange during summer, May to September? Do we see many students go during that term?
We don't get many, at least in engineering, but it is definitely possible. The most common that we see for engineering is either a fall semester, a winter semester, or a full year, but we get anywhere from 2 to 5 potentially for a summer term. Because it's summer, you don't have up to 15 units or more. Typically, it's usually one course, maybe two, but the process is the same. Sometimes students, depending on what program they're in, will do a research course abroad in the summer, is what I often see. So, yes, it's definitely possible. And the process is the same for looking into everything.
Now, something else to consider, and Valerie, please correct me on this, it may
Mhm.
also depend where you're going and when their
Mhm.
terms are running, because
Yes.
not all places around the world run on a September to December and January to April term. I think a lot of schools, especially in Europe, don't start in January. Is that wrong?
Yeah, so I'm not sure about the start and end times, but you are 100% correct that they don't all match McMaster's timelines.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about the term you're going abroad, we're using McMaster's terms,
Mm-hmm.
but the start and end dates for the institutions you might be looking at may not line up exactly, and that will also impact potentially how long you consider going for, whether that's a full year, because if your fall term goes into January, well, you can't do that at McMaster to come back for a term if you're 3 weeks into January. So that would be something to consider as well when you're looking. So we're talking about McMaster terms when we say fall, winter, or summer. Um, so there's lots of options and there is flexibility in what you choose to do.
The next question is on resource websites that they can use to find courses for schools that could potentially transfer. And I believe on the Study Abroad website, there is actually all the information on our study partners is available on that website. Carly, are you able to grab that link and throw it in the chat? You got it.
Got you. I
Because I
got
still have
you.
the presentation up. I have less that I can do on my computer.
Yes,
Um,
understandable.
but yeah, no, definitely take a look at that. Most of the information is going to be available on that website about our study partners, and then you'll be able to look at their website. Should I
You'd be
apply to
looking
iCenter?
for something comparable to our academic calendar at those institutions. So you're
Mhm.
asking for course specific. We don't have a database. And so it's the institutions you're interested in. You would be going to their sites to find their equivalent of an academic calendar or course lists for what you might want to look at.
And I want to say some of them have stuff exchange specific, don't they?
Some of them.
Some of them. I just remember seeing that for one of my students last year. Should I apply to iCenter first and then book an appointment with my academic advisor? I think it depends where in the process you are. If we're ready to talk about courses, yes. If you're trying to figure out how to make this fit within everything, maybe come and talk to us first. Generally, it's not just a one meeting thing with your advisor. I feel like my students who are on exchange, I've had multiple meetings with, I have constant emails with them. So note that we're kind of with you the whole time too.
Mhm. There's a question asking if there's more room to do a semester abroad in second year or third year. So, firstly, I do just want to clarify that students do not go on exchange in their second year. If you're in a 4-year program, you go in level 3. If you are in a 5-year program, you go in level 4. And as Sina was chatting about before, it truly depends on your program. Some programs are more flexible than others. However, going in level 3 and going in level 4 typically will result in the most flexibility to allow us to move some things around, especially if you still have some tech electives outstanding in your degree and complementary studies electives. So save those ones if you're thinking of going on exchange.
So the next question is about ECE and transfer credits because yes, we are aware about the LOP issue. We are very aware these are different. LOPs and exchange transfer credits are completely different. So students in ECE can absolutely still go on exchange and receive transfer credit for these courses. The LOPs is a completely different conversation, completely different issue. So don't worry about that at all. Go ahead and look at courses that are available and we would still be approving them for exchange. Not a problem there at all.
Okay. Next question. Which semesters are considered in calculating your GPA for eligibility? So the short answer to that is everything that you have completed at McMaster to date. So all of your level 1 courses, level 2, level 3 potentially, basically all of your completed courses up until the time of application. Please note that you can have a 6.5 GPA when you apply, as long as you have a plan to meet the minimum of 7.0 when you are ready to go on exchange. So if you do apply in January at the time of the deadline and you have a 6.5 at that time, as long as throughout your winter semester you bring your GPA up to a minimum 7 before you go on exchange, you will remain eligible. But the short answer to that question is your GPA is calculated using everything you've completed up at McMaster up until you submit your application.
I just realized I didn't need to keep sharing my screen anymore.
Um,
Um,
okay. Is that the whole question? Will it be until, okay, yes, that is the whole question. Um,
Valerie might know the next one. How does the selection process work? Are the decisions chosen from the master side? If a school accepts multiple faculty, how are students chosen then? I don't know this
That
question.
is actually something I don't know. That would be something I would connect with the study abroad office for. They are the ones who receive and handle the applications and the nominations and would have more information about that side of the process. I'm really sorry, that's not handled by our office, so that's not something we can share with you today. But that is a really good question. Yeah, I would definitely recommend connecting with the study abroad office for that.
And I think it's definitely worth mentioning that it's not just us that we want you to meet with. Like, definitely the study abroad office actually should be a higher touch point with you guys, just because they're the ones that are helping you get settled at the university. Like, they're doing a lot. The McMaster, the Teams community that we've linked there in the chat, that is through their office. Really, we're helping with the courses that you're taking. So that's really what our office is here for, is to help with the courses that you're taking, what courses we're approving, and that kind of stuff. So please keep in mind that they are still a really great resource that we want to encourage you to reach out to their office with questions like that. So it's definitely on their side that they'll help you with that part. And when is the application available? So I think, again, I would look at the Study Abroad website for that. Because again, we're not actually part of the application process. And if you join that Teams community, that information may be there already.
that's a good point.
Oh, I like this one from Spencer. If we have grades from a previous degree at McMaster, will they also be taken into consideration? Just to clarify, that would be because you're doing a second degree or because you transferred programs. And I'll just say why that's different. If you have previously done a degree at McMaster and you are a second degree student, we actually do a full stats reset when you join the program. So it will be your CGPA will actually be comprised of all courses taken from when you start in engineering, or at least with your, could be two engineering degrees, or at least with your current degree. If you are a student who's transferred from another department, so let's say you did first year in life sciences and you transferred from life sciences to engineering, we would be including those grades because your CGPA is comprised of everything that you've taken as an undergraduate. But yes, for the students who are second degree, it's from your next undergraduate. So your new start point, your GPA starts again.
The next question about whether there is an interview involved, again, I think that would be a good question for the study abroad office just to get a fulsome answer of what the exact application process is. I did put their direct email address into the chat there for anyone who has application specific questions. You can always reach out to macabroad@mcmaster.ca.
Yeah, and their web page, which we linked earlier in the presentation, actually lists most of the steps for the application. And I know that the Teams group also includes a lot of what you need to know. I actually have had just shared with me with Mike from Exchange that when students apply, they review your statement of interest and your GPA as part of that application. So it's not just submitting that you want to go, you do provide a statement of interest. Applications open in November. You list your top three choices and they try to place you accordingly. Some partner institutions will have limited spots, and he has shared that there is no interview. So it might depend on what you choose on where you're hoping to go. Um, Partner institutions have limitations on how many students they can select, so that potentially impacts what institution you might get nominated to, among other factors. But that's some more information on some of these questions.
I am also just going to share another link in the chat for everyone. This is our partner institution, I don't even know what the word is, profile page. Um, so if you log in with your Mac login there, you can look at fulsome profiles for each of the partnerships or partner schools that we're partnered with. It has information about eligibility, and you can read experiences from previous students and look at photos. And I find that it's a really fantastic resource if you're trying to narrow down institutions within a certain country.
I think we've exhausted all their questions.
I think we have. If anyone has any more questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. But if there are no more, we will start to wrap up, I think.
If you come up with questions after we have ended this information session, please feel free to email them to me at engidmin. Try to include as much detail as you can, and please always include your student number so that I can direct you accordingly.
I think we're good.
I think we are. No more questions in the chat. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Oh, no,
We
last
have
minute
another one.
question.
Here we go. Let's
She
go.
got it in. A summer research exchange, and then also a semester of exchange. That is interesting. Valerie, do you remember the two students we had go in the summer? Was it exchange or was it LOP?
We've had both. We have had students go like do the research exchange in the summer. I have not seen students pair a summer research exchange with either a winter or a fall semester, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that was just their own preference or if there was a restriction to that. So I don't see why you can't look into it to see if that might potentially be an option. Um, I've not seen it happen, but there is a first time for everything.
Oh,
Ina, that's for
mechanical.
you.
You're one of mine. Okay. So the full year composite lab courses. We love these courses. Um, the answer is that, especially with the third year course, we can actually break it into two. As long as you're doing the fall part of the composite lab in the fall and you're going on an exchange in the winter, we can actually hold on to your grades from the fall so that you can complete it when you come back. We often do this for students who are going on a co-op term. So we can do the exact same thing. However, that is actually about to be a curriculum change in that course, and that is coming and may impact you differently depending on what year you're currently in. So if you're in second year right now, then I think the curriculum change is being applied, and the course is going to be a little bit different next year. The fourth year course, though, is staying as a full year course still, and it would still apply. So if you complete the A part of the course in the fall, we have a way of holding onto your grades and letting you finish the course when you come back. It's not pretty and it's complicated, and we'll go over it when it actually happens, but we can do it.
Yeah. I was going to say, just to piggyback off of that, that right there is a perfect example of why talking to your academic advisor is so important, because we know all of the little curriculum, concerns that we may have and things like that. So, this is why planning with your advisor is so important, because Kenny might have just assumed, hey, I cannot go on exchange at all. It's never going to work out for me. But now Sina has showed him that maybe there is something that we can make work. So make sure that before you decide, it's not going to work for me, I can't fit it into my plan, come and talk to us first. We'll let you know how it could possibly fit into your plan. We don't want anyone not going on exchange because they're assuming it's not going to work for them.
We
And
really
that's
do
why
know all
we
like the ins and outs of our programs. Like engineering is complicated and really inflexible, but we kind of know what we can do with with our own programs.
And that's why, like, meeting with the advisor, there's no set reason why you can't meet beforehand. But we also
Mhm.
say, absolutely after you've been nominated, because some students, you might wait until December when your exams are over to do the bulk of this research because you have the time. Well, as you all probably know, January is really, really busy for the first 3 weeks. That doesn't fit perfectly with the application deadline. So we don't want you to think that you can't apply if you haven't met with the advisor first. Just do some of that initial research and then fit time in to meet with your advisor. It can be at any point. Just do some research first.
Okay, last chance to pop something in the chat before we wrap things up. Let's see if we get another one. We'll wait maybe 1 minute and see.
Be fair, most people have actually left at this point too. We just
I
have
think
a
so.
couple people
But thank
still
you for those
interested.
who have hung around with us. I lied, we're gonna do 30 seconds. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today to learn a little bit more about exchange in the Faculty of Engineering. Sina, Valerie, and I are happy to answer questions. If you want to send in an email, or like Valerie said, if you want to do a bit of research and then meet with one of us, we are more than happy to chat more about going on exchange as a student in engineering. This recording will be put online somewhere, somehow, at some point. So keep an eye out for it in the Microsoft Teams community. Make sure you join that Microsoft Teams community. Even if you're not sure if you want to go on exchange, it could be the factor that helps you decide to go. So there's some really cool information on there. So thanks everyone for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your days.